Hello, welcome. So today we're going to be taking a little dive into r/just no mother-in-law. Yay! So if that sounds like something you'd like to look into with me today, then please do stick around and enjoy. And don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Thank you. Okay, first post, posted by Spiritual Check 5579. Mother-in-law surprise visit made my husband drop the rope. I hope that is like one of those sayings for something and not something worse, because that sounds not good. Last weekend, a mother-in-law decided to visit us with less than 12 hours notice. She stayed for 6 days in our guest room. What? Firstly, absolutely not. People dropping in with only 12 hours notice wanting to stay for 6 days? No. Absolutely not. I'd be like, yeah, if you turn up here, the door will be locked, the windows will be locked, and I will close the blinds too. Good luck. She didn't care that I had the most important meeting of my career just a couple of days after her visit. To be fair, she cares so little about us that she never cared to ask about our lives and careers. Why is she even showing up then? To sum up, mother-in-law showed up with her older son, brother-in-law 1, her older daughter-in-law, and her 2 grandkids. It was hell. Every visit they turn worse. I have never met so uncivilized people. I'm talking about dirty diapers thrown around the house. As a guest, that is diabolical. Our kitchen full of dirty dishes and the mess that only a Viking raid would explain. Absolutely not. The Vikings would have been way more clean than that. I'm not kidding. That's how my husband is calling them from now on. The Vikings. At least we could laugh a little about our misery. I mean, I am glad that your husband is recognizing this too, but why did you let them in the friggin' house? I am so curious as to why you let them in the first place. What is wrong with you guys? We live in a house mother-in-law owns, okay. And we are about to move the heck out. Yeah, I suppose it's one of those things of maybe they feel like they can't say no because their mother-in-law will be like, well, get out my house then. This little visit and mother-in-law's tantrum while she was going away, mother-in-law got offended that my husband would not cancel our plans to instead take her to the airport with her ton of suitcases, so when my husband put her inside an Uber, she faked crying, saying, "Okay, I'll stop being a burden to you." Oh! Someone give her an Oscar. Luckily for her, I didn't listen, or else I would have laughed at her face. Yes, a burden is the best word to describe this unsufferable woman. But at least I have 2 good news. My meeting was awesome, and I am this close to landing the job of my dreams, and my husband got so frustrated with his family that he decided to go no contact after we move out. Please do, for your sanity. So, no more visits from the Vikings and no more suffering for me. He is done with them, and so am I. My goodness. Okay, I was gonna get mad at the OP for being like, why did you let them in? Like, why would you actually let them in your house? But if they are living in a house that mother-in-law owns, I get it, to be fair. Because, you know, they don't want to risk their house security by saying no. Because if she's the type to throw tantrums, she would be the type to do that. I really hope they get out ASAP and get a house of their own that is not owned by her. So, Bonnie Bedlam says, "Girl, I love these happy endings, especially after following your trials and travails with this woman." Wait, there's more? Okay, put a pin in that. Get that job, move the fuck out, and get a PO box, but don't feel obligated to open any mail she sends. Congratulations! And then Pilot Environmental 46 says, "It's particularly nice to hear the husband who isn't completely spineless. Glad he's going no contact with them. Honestly, same." And then OP says, "Thank you, dear. I feel it's a Christmas miracle and I can't wait until we move out and I start this new job and chapter. Please note that I am already on no speaking terms with mother-in-law and I have no plans to change this. I won't call, text, visit, or receive any letters or visits from her. The only thing I want is silence and peace from mother-in-law." I very much hope you get that, my love. Oh my goodness. So this next post as well was also shared by Spiritual Trek 5579 because of course I could not leave it there. I wanted to know what other weirdness there was about this woman. So here we go. Mother-in-law thinks her son is the ideal man for her. Goodness, that's a title, isn't it? My mother-in-law has a weird obsession over her golden child, younger son, brother-in-law too, who's 35. She is also an alcoholic, so she tends to start fights and say unhinged bullshit while drunk, and she drinks all the time. The last time darling husband's family was all together, mother-in-law, her sons, grandkids, and daughters-in-law was last year over the holidays. Darling husband and I showed up to celebrate New Year's Eve with them after not showing up at Christmas. Brother-in-law one was cooking a barbecue and mother-in-law was already drunk when we arrived. Luckily, she wasn't focused on me or darling husband, so our time was pleasant with the other people around. Then at some point, mother-in-law starts talking to me and brother-in-law two's fiancée, I'll call her sister-in-law. We were talking about sister-in-law and brother-in-law's incoming wedding and their plans to the ceremony. Like normal family members would do. Mother-in-law chimed in saying how happy she was that she was moving in with brother-in-law too, and sister-in-law before the wedding, and talking about her ideas for their future ceremony. Pardon? Everything was good until mother-in-law blurps out, "You know, after 20 years being a widow, I wish in the new city I can find the perfect man for me, but he has to be just like," she says brother-in-law two's name. Gross, foul, begone vile demon, that's disgusting. I was shocked. Sister-in-law got quiet, and mother-in-law completed her thought process. "I mean, my type of man is someone tall and tanned, just like my son." Gross. "Maybe 10 years older than him. That's my type." Sister-in-law and I just changed the subject while mother-in-law distanced to talk to her son. At the time, I forgot about how problematic this was, but with time, remembering this conversation grosses me out. It gave me the ick. It gave me the ick, mate, honestly. You know, when you get that horrible feeling where it's like, feels like there's a lump in the back of your throat, like a bit of vom wants to come up. That's what the feeling that gave me. That's disgusting. What the hell? So, down in the comments, Nancy's911 says mother-in-law will wear a wedding dress and try to go to the honeymoon as well. Yeah, literally. So the OP then says, "I am not lying when I say this. Mother-in-law did try to go on her older son's honeymoon. How do I know? She told me, years later, that she never forgave brother-in-law one for not allowing her to go with him and his new wife to a fancy beach house. His friend let him use it for free. Mother-in-law whined and said they wouldn't even realise I was there with them. I highly doubt that." This woman is unwell. I agree, OP, to be honest. Oh my goodness. Apparently there's more from this OP as well, and I really do need to read through those, honestly. But of course, I did not save all of them, so that will be a job for another day. Right now, we're going to go to a post from OK Visual 6290, the girl who loved apples. Ever since my daughter was born, my mother-in-law has started acting, I don't know, jealous? Anything my daughter does has to match with what her family does. Among other things, they're obsessed with my daughter liking meat because they like meat. I'm more of a fruit and vegetable person. I love eating vegetables, and the usual joke in my family is that one of these days I'll become a vegetarian. My daughter eats meat, fish, fruit, and vegetables. Anyway, my husband's paternal grandmother invited us to a family lunch. For some reason, that lady likes me, and she and my mother-in-law hate each other. So, when it was time for dessert, my husband's grandmother decided to buy fruit as well as cake, so I would be included. Ah, because I don't like cake. What? There I was, taking care of my daughter, and when my husband's grandmother saw that I'd finished my food, she offered me some beautiful green apples. My mother-in-law was over there with her sister-in-law talking about how much my daughter loves meat just like they do. When my daughter saw the apples, she pushed a plate of meat aside and asked for an apple. I had to explain to her that the apple was dessert and she had to finish her food first. In the end, we agreed that I would leave half of an apple sliced on a plate where she could see it while she finished eating. My husband's grandmother was cracking up. I heard her tell my mother-in-law as she walked past, "Oh yeah, she clearly takes after you. Obviously she loves me." Grandmother, stirring the pot, you wicked little lady, you. So, down in the comments, Instacat1 says, "Oh, my parents-in-law used to do this and I'd forgotten how much it enraged me. For example, my son was a tall toddler, above the 97th centile. My significant other and his entire family are short. My entire family are tall. It's obvious where his height comes from, but my mother-in-law, Cousin John on Great Auntie Mildred's side was 6 foot tall. He must take after him." Oh no, it couldn't be the entire other half of his family who were all tall, no. There was nothing in my son that could possibly be attributed to my inferior genetics. I was totally erased. It was so hurtful. One of the many thousands of reasons that I can breathe a sigh of relief that we're no contact. I am very happy for you, commenter, I really am. Next post posted by Throwaway89123. Mother-in-law offers to babysit the kids, then gets mad that we take her up on the offer. My husband works for a small company of 5 people, and every year the owner hosts a holiday dinner at a fancy restaurant. Even before we knew the date, mother-in-law offered to watch the kids. We confirmed the date with her and that the dinner started at 7 p.m. She said that was fine, just drop the kids off on the way to dinner and pick them up after. The kids' bedtime is 8 p.m. So we asked if they could do a sleepover, but she said no. Okay, that's fair, it's her time. We said we'd bring their pajamas so she could put them to bed in the guest bedroom and we'd pick them up after dinner. On the way to dinner, we dropped the kids off with mother-in-law as arranged, and she said she wanted us to pick them up by 9 p.m. This was the first time she'd ever mentioned a pickup time. My husband told her that the dinner likely wouldn't be done by 9 p.m. as it's a fancy restaurant and the meal is served at a more leisurely pace. Mother-in-law just said, "See you at 9," and walked back into the house. Obviously this was a sign of things to come, but we were literally en route to the dinner and didn't have a backup option. At 8:30 p.m, my husband updated mother-in-law that the entrees had just arrived and that we'd pick up the kids as soon as the dinner was done. At 9 p.m, on the dot, the text from mother-in-law started coming in. "Where are you? Are you on your way? I told you to be here at 9. I asked my husband if I should go get the kids, but he said no. We weren't going to leave in the middle of dinner. We finished the meal, left when everyone else did, and got to mother-in-law's around 10 p.m. The kids were running around the front yard with flashlights and mother-in-law was sitting on the porch. She came over to the car and started yelling at us before we even opened the doors. First, she accused us for going out for drinks after the dinner, and she said that she agreed to babysit for my husband's professional opportunity, not for a date night. My husband reiterated that we came to pick up the kids straight away after the work dinner. We didn't go anywhere else. I asked why the kids were still awake, and she said I had a lot of nerve to criticise how she was taking care of the kids when we abandoned them with her. My husband said that she shouldn't offer to babysit if she didn't actually want to do it. The only reason we didn't hire a babysitter is because she offered first. She said she was tired of us pushing boundaries with her and taking advantage of her generosity. Mind you, the last time she babysat for us was for my husband's work holiday dinner last year. My husband said it was good to know that her generous offers were hollow, and we'd know better than to take her up on them again. We got the kids home and settled, and then father-in-law started texting my husband. He wants my husband to call and apologise to mother-in-law tomorrow for being upset with her. That will not be happening. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, of course, if someone's babysitting for you and they say, I can only do it till 9, fair enough. But she offered, Okay, she offered. She didn't tell them until literally the day they were dropping them off that they need to be back at 9. Too late to get a babysitter. So they didn't really have much of a choice. And I feel like it was a power play, like a control move. Do you know what I mean? One thing I would be doing if I was this OP was I would be taking what she has done, registering it, and going, okay, I will not ask you again to babysit because you're just going to try and mess us about again, and we will learn from this lesson. That's for sure. So, down in the comments, Madam Rorschach says, my mum is like this. She kept offering and offering. She had even made comments about never having alone time with her grandkids, years before talking about my brother's kids, so I figured she really wanted to watch them. Bond. We took her up on it. After an hour, I texted to ask how everything was going, and she says, you need to come and get them right now. So we did. She has never watched them again because they are crazy. We also caught her on camera threatening to spank the kids. I had previously told her that no one is allowed to spank them. Apparently, without the threat of violence, she has no idea how to have boundaries with my kids. I should have known because she never parented me either. I was outside from the moment I woke up until she called for dinner. They don't want grandkids, they want bragging rights. Next post, posted by Quantum Desire. Mother-in-law told my 4-year-old she could live with her. Oh, absolutely the f*** not. My 4-year-old has been acting out, and I've noticed it becomes significantly worse every time she returns from my mother-in-law's house, or even after we talk to my mother-in-law on the phone. She has had boundary issues since my daughter was a baby, and my husband and I have had many arguments about her overstepping and not respecting our parenting decisions, largely because he never confronts her. I thought we were going to get through this whole video without a spineless husband, but apparently not. More recently, after returning from my mother-in-law's house, my daughter told me that her grandmother asked whether she would want to live with her because she could do whatever she wanted there. Obviously, a 4-year-old who's acting out is going to say yes to that. And what is it about the age 4, by the way? Because I found with both of mine, the age 4, they were just absolute little nightmares. Is it a thing? Like, is there some sort of like mental sort of like developmental leaps that make them act actually feral? I called mother-in-law and casually brought it up to hear a response, as I didn't want to automatically accuse her based solely on what my 4-year-old said. Her response was, yes, does she want to? As if it were a totally normal thing to ask a grandchild whether they want to live with you. She then claimed that my daughter brought it up first and that she told her that she could live with her after the fact. My daughter, however, says that her grandmother mentioned it first. Either way, it feels highly inappropriate because it is highly inappropriate, and that is where I would be going. Nope, you are not allowed to have contact with my kid anymore, personally, because that's actually overstepping a huge boundary, being like, oh, you know, you can come and live with me. Fuck what your parents think. Do you know what I mean? I'm just gonna basically kidnap you. Like, what the hell? Today, my daughter had a complete meltdown and said that she wanted to go live with my mother-in-law. I told my husband that I find it completely unacceptable for his mother to even suggest, jokingly or not, to a 4-year-old that living with her is an option. His response was, my mum always says crazy things and I never know when she's joking. Ugh, what a bellend. I told him that I don't find that joke funny at all. What should I do? I know that if he confronts his mother, she will likely do what she always does, claim that she was joking and accuse me of overreacting. But I can't shake the feeling that she's deliberately undermining me in our parenting, and it's starting to affect our daughter. At this point, it's not really just a feeling or an inkling, is it really, OP? She's absolutely deliberately undermining your parenting. And your husband is an absolute joke, honestly. You have a husband issue as well as a mother-in-law issue. I am so very sorry. So down in the comments, Floating Cynic says, his response, my mum always says crazy things. I never know when she's joking. The problem is not whether he knows she's joking. The problem is that his small child thinks she's serious and is having very real emotional reactions. At some point, it doesn't matter what she has done, what she meant, whether she's reasonable or not. What matters is the impact on your child. She could be Mr. Rogers, and if your daughter was having meltdowns after visits, it means the visits were harmful, even if nothing harmful occurred. Yeah, because obviously, this mother in law has no problems with filling this kid's head full of rubbish, so you don't know what she's saying when she's at her house. And, like, she could, for all we know, could be telling this kid, you don't have to do what your mum says, you don't have to listen to mum. Do you know what I mean? And honestly, I wouldn't put it past her. So, do the confrontation that way. Daughter thought you were serious and believes you offered. This led to a huge meltdown, so we need to take a break for a while so that she can feel a bit more secure. It was a joke, a misunderstanding. Right, I'm not arguing about what you think it was or what she thinks happened. I am saying that she's melting down because of whatever is happening in her visits with you, and we can't seem to get to the bottom of why. So the answer is to take a break from visits. Don't you want your granddaughter well-being to be prioritised? She might claim you're punishing her, you tell her right back, until I know how to stop these meltdowns, I have to do what is best. While you're at it, finding a play-based therapist would not be a bad thing for getting your husband to understand that there's a problem. I ended up putting my kids in therapy for a while, and the therapist flat out told me that the kids won't talk about what happened at my parents' house, so they shouldn't be there unsupervised. It could just be nothing, but it's better to assume that someone's asking them to keep secrets. Yeah, definitely. I mean, you've got to err on the side of caution, really, haven't you, when it comes to your kids? And like I say, if they're causing a problem within your household and with your kids' behaviour because of their visits, well, yeah, I'd be the same. I'd be like, visits are stopping. Yeah, I'd be the same. I'd be like, visits are stopping until we get to the bottom of this, and also until you stop saying inappropriate things around my kid, because kids don't understand when parents are just making silly little jokes. They don't get it half the time. They think you're being serious. Next post posted by Nikki Clarizio, I think. I'm sorry if that's not right. Mother-in-law wants us to have a boy, not a girl. Ah, yes, because you clearly get to choose. I'm 31F, I'm pregnant with our first kid, and our due date is the end of June 2026. My husband, 32M, and I did IVF in the summer and are so excited and lucky that our fertility journey was shorter than most, and all we want is a healthy baby. Both of us didn't have a specific gender we were hoping for. However, in the weeks leading up to the genetic screening, my mother-in-law flat out said, "Oh, you're having a boy. It's got to be a boy." And I would feel uncomfortable every time that she would say it. Yeah, I bet. My husband is one of 2 boys, and my mother-in-law is your stereotypical boy mum. Ugh, ew. Very controlling and wants to be involved in every part of her son's life, especially my husband's. When we told my husband's parents the gender, we told his dad first because my husband was more excited to tell his dad than his mum. Wonder why? Already a red flag. His dad was happy that we were having a girl and excited for us to be parents. Right after, we called his mum, who just says, "I already know," in a monotone, not exciting way. Apparently, she was in the same room as his dad and was silent while we talked. We told her, "Yeah, we're having a girl. Sorry, we thought you and dad weren't together." All my mother-in-law said, "Oh, well, that's just great. Happy for you." And that was it. I looked at my husband and just said, "She really didn't sound happy." I was so uncomfortable. She called my husband 20 minutes later and went on and on about how she's actually excited we're having a girl and that she's excited even though it's about us. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, alright then. Cut forward to our Christmas Eve party we had yesterday with my husband's aunt, who is BFFs with my mother-in-law. We told her and her kids that I'm pregnant and having a girl, and they were thrilled. While everyone was mingling and making dinner, I overheard the aunt and my mother-in-law talking, and the aunt asks, "Aren't you excited that they're having a girl?" And my mother-in-law's response was, "Yeah, I guess so." I'm so pissed and honestly hurt because this doesn't matter. What do I do? I'm worried this is going to come up over and over, even when our child is born. Honestly, I'd just be like, yeah, you either get with the program and stop acting like this is all about you and what you wanted, or you just won't be involved. We won't involve you because right now you're putting a dampener on everything with your sour friggin' face, like a bulldog chewing a wasp. Give over. So, Weird Farm Bee says a lot of these comments seem to be coming from the angle of mother in law doesn't like girls. I think it's more of she never got a daughter and now you do, so you get something she didn't and can never have. I have 3 sons, but I remember my mother in law making a shit comment to me before my second saying, yeah, and I bet you will have a girl, like she didn't want me to. And I think that's why. I mean, it could be, or it could be that she is just one of those weirdo boy mum types. Either way, she's got to realise it really isn't all about her and what she wants. So, and if she's gonna like be less excited and love this grandchild less just because they're a girl, she's got issues. Yeah, quite a few actually. Okay, I think that's where we're going to leave it for today. If you made it all the way to the end with me, then I appreciate you very, very much. If you give a little like, subscribe, notifications on, put a little comment in the comment section to please the algorithm gods, that would be fantastic. And that is your initiation into the Coven of Void. Welcome. Whatever it is you're doing for the day, I hope you have a really good rest of the day. Goodbye.